The last time I went to Disney World, I was 5 years old and in kindergarten. Today I'm in Japan, going to Tokyo Disneyland with my family. As soon as our car pulled up, we were greeted with an earthquake alert. Several Disney employees were just telling everybody to stay on the ground and not get up. It'd been a long time since I'd been in an earthquake, so everybody just took a knee and just waited. Thankfully, as quick as it came, it had already went, and we didn't really feel any of the effects of the earthquake. We were here about the time that it opened. A lot of people suggest that you get there a lot earlier, but the line was intensely long. Now, if I'm going to be honest, we might have picked the worst possible time to go. This was Japan spring break, so every child in Japan was off this week. But we ended up timing our whole line wait, and to be completely honest, it was somewhere between 15 and 20 minutes tops. Now, if you want to be sure that you're going to get in on the day that you want to go, be sure to order your tickets online, I think like 2 months in advance. There are 2 theme parks total in Tokyo Disneyland. You don't have to go to both of them, but they cost about $50 per ticket each. Now, I wouldn't consider myself a Disney adult, but I definitely grew up liking and loving Disney. And to be completely fair, I am a guy that runs a channel that's all about collecting video games from when I was a child, so I'm not going to be casting stones or calling anybody any names. The reason I'm pointing all of this out is just to tell you where I'm coming from. This part of the trip was mainly for my kid and for my wife. That being said, I enjoyed the crap out of this part of the trip, and I'll tell you why. I never had to worry that my kid was having a fun time here, and I also had very low expectations on how much fun we would have. I also had no idea what this ride was going into it. It's not really a ride, it's just kind of like a shoot 'em up gallery where you just paint blast Goofy's house, I think. And this is all part of Toontown, which I think is actually just in the Magic Kingdom in the normal Disney World. By the way, shout out Roger Rabbit, man. My first drink of the day was this cherry jelly drink, and it was super sugary, but good. Unfortunately, I am clumsy, and I shouldn't have done this with one hand, and I spilled it everywhere. But that's okay. After cleaning it up, we made sure to do another thing that we wanted to get out of the way, and wanted to make sure we did while we were here. This Mickey Mouse house. Now, the thing is, we do watch Disney movies and shows with our kid, but there was no way for us to really contextualize what Disneyland would be, so we made sure to go to places that he would have some familiarity with. By the way, some of this camera work is just pure chaos because I had no idea what was going on. We were just running through these rooms. This is a Japanese theme park, so most of the characters' voices are in Japanese, which is actually kind of cool, but sometimes they're Japanese first, then they'll do an English version of the voice as well, which is kind of nice. By the way, we didn't tell him that he was going to be meeting Mickey in the next room. He had no clue. He just thought we were just waiting in a giant line for no reason. It really was a magical moment, the type of thing that you see unfolding right in front of you, but you realize as it's happening, it's going to be a special memory for the rest of your life, and he had such a good time. Another thing that was super exciting to me was this was the first time he was old enough to ride rides. Now, I grew up as a theme park kid. We had one near us called Kings Island that we would go to all the time, and I also really enjoyed riding rides. It's just very nice to share that experience with your kid. By the way, as you can tell, this is the Mad Hatter's Tea Party, and this, among many other classic Disney rides, are all here, and they're a lot of fun. I know what you might be thinking. Hey, Paul hasn't gotten a drink in a minute. Well, minute's over, silly goose. It's time to drink some BMO juice. I'm just gonna be real here for a second. Do you think there is a single theme park in all of the United States where you could get a drink for $1.50? Yeah. I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. But what I did get was this drink. It's called Aquarius. It's kind of like Pocari Sweat. For some reason, BMO is super popular in Asia, and for some reason, this machine spit out a tea. That's 75 cents a drink. I don't think I've got a drink anywhere that cheap in decades. Now, this is the part of the video where I was going to tell you about the delicious curry lunch we had. However, some more Disney magic happened, and some of my little guy's favorite characters came out to say hello. A huge crowd formed, and I wasn't sure how to get in line to get a picture or get a hug or whatever with Woody, and I really wanted one for my kid because he loves Toy Story. I was starting to develop the fop sweats because it seemed like we were there forever, but we were probably only there 10 minutes, and I just wasn't sure how long they were going to stick around because usually these characters have to go and move, otherwise they'll get mobbed by all these people that want to get a picture with them. I ended up flagging somebody down, and he got a photo, and I'm just that was the most accomplished I think I've ever felt ever because he was just so happy, and I was just happy happy that he was happy. He was just as excited to see Jessie, and I thought I was going to have a mini heart attack because, you know, I didn't know if I'd be able to flag down a second character, but, you know, whoever was in there, you know, being that character was awesome, and she gave my kid a big hug, and, you know, he just talked about that for days. Well, anyways, we ended up having a delicious curry for lunch. We got my kid to try some pork katsu, which was awesome. There's a lot of places at Disney where you can get very snacky food. This one felt like a real meal and was delicious. I'd definitely get it again. I wanted a sweet treat later, and if I'm going to be honest, I just wanted to try as many foods as I could. So I got this macaroon and this brownie. Macaroon, top tier. It was like berry flavored. The brownie was okay. It was like cheesecake. You know, we had to do it. We had to go on Dumbo the ride. Now, it's kind of a boring ride, but it's a classic ride. It's just like one of the things you do when you've gone to Disney for the first time. So, yeah, my kid and wife just got in Dumbo and went in circles for about 60 seconds. And let's just say, thrill of a lifetime. 10 out of 10. Would watch from the ground again. Now, this next ride might be one of the best rides I've ever ridden, ever, period. Now, this is the Beauty and the Beast ride, which is exclusive to Tokyo Disneyland. Fast Pass for this ended up costing us like $15, and it was worth it because the line for this was like 3 hours long. Excited?
I'm thrilled.
For those of you wondering, I'm also excited.
For me, I've always liked Beauty and the Beast, but I've always thought there were hints and undertones of Stockholm Syndrome. The Disney Premier Access basically gets you to the front of the castle, and being in the line at this point is a part of the attraction. Funny enough, you don't even have to actually know the story of Beauty and the Beast to ride this ride, because they kind of just go through the whole story while you're in line. The animatronics of the Beast and Belle were absolutely mind-boggling. They both looked like real and the cartoon at the same time, and there was never a moment of Uncanny Valley. If you don't know what Uncanny Valley is, it's when a robot looks so real but unreal at the same time that it makes you uncomfortable. It wasn't just Beast and Belle that they brought to life, and it wasn't just one particular animation or animatronic technique that they used. They were just using a whole bunch of different techniques, from projection to animatronics to, like, you know, just a little bit of everything. And it was just so cool how all these things seamlessly came together and gave you like an experience that just felt believable and real, even though it was so magical and fantastical. Look at the attention to detail. This is all in French, all the keys are different, and the Beast's swipey hand is just, you know, alluding to different parts of the movie. This line was like a museum. Each and every piece kind of just brought you into the world, and like, we haven't even touched the ride yet. I mean, look at this cookbook. It's all in French. I have no idea what it says, but it's just inviting me into the world. It was kind of cool too that at this point, this is where they start sectioning you off into your cart. There was a cast member here that like signed this little triangle thing and gave it to my kid. I'm not a Disney adult or a frequent Disney person, but it was really nice, and we saved that and we're gonna like put it in a scrapbook. So this is where the ride actually begins to start. You get into a giant teacup and you get ready to go. And yeah, here's that triangle thing. It was very sweet of her to give it to us. I have no idea what it means. So if you want to go to the park and you don't want this ride spoiled, I would just fast forward a bit now, but let's get into it. The ride starts off with Be Our Guest. You're in a giant serving bowl. There's stuff moving everywhere. You don't know what to look at, but everything all at once is the beautiful presentation, and it is a banger of a way to start off a ride. I found myself constantly looking at things and being like, how'd they do that? Oh, how'd they do that? Where should I be looking? What is that? That's cool. I like that. Look at those little stick arms that Lumiere has. That's crazy. Then they go into that song about the Beast may be changing. I don't know. Maybe he's becoming a better guy. Maybe not. I don't know. But we're out here. We're outside. We're looking at the Beast. We're looking at Belle. And everything's happening. It's at this point that I'm already like, wow, this is like better than the live action movie. I might like this as much as I like the cartoon. What is happening? By the way, everything's in Japanese, and while I would play the audio, I just can't, because this would get a copyright strike and my whole page would be taken down. The subtlety of the movements is telling such a beautiful story. Look at this. I mean, just look how realistic they look. From that, it transitions right into the scene where all the villagers come with Gaston to, kill the beast. This part I'm going to be quiet for, but it was just jaw-droppingly amazing to see in person. Like, what? Are you kidding me? That was amazing, but then just the whole castle's transforming. We're into the end game. Everybody's happy. The rose is back. At this point, we're in the ballroom. We're seeing the final scene. Everybody's a human or a dog again. This is just top notch. And I mean, look at them dancing. Look how realistic these moves are. I cannot get enough of this. By the way, did Cogsworth end up with the maid? I don't know. If I used to be a candlestick holder, I don't know if I'd want to hold a candlestick ever again. I think I'd have an existential crisis. But, at the end of the day, this is a must-ride ride at Disney Tokyo. If they ever have this in Disney World or Disneyland, California, I will be there. Fun fact, Beauty and the Beast was actually nominated for Best Picture when it came out. Not Best Animated Picture, just like straight up nominating this for Best Picture. So anyways, now my kid loves Beauty and the Beast, and we've watched it about 100 times, and he wanted this rose, so I got it for him. By the way, I kind of feel like Belle sounds like Liza Minnelli. Baby, you know what time it is. It's time to ride some rides with short lines, and the shortest line that we could find was It's a Small World. I think you have to download the app no matter what for your tickets, but it's also very useful for telling you things like wait times at certain rides. Be cautious, it's always like medium levels of accurate, but it's still like a nice guide so that you can kind of avoid some of the lines. Now, the last time I rode this ride, I believe I was like 6 years old. From what I can remember, yeah, it was pretty cool. I liked it. I also feel like this ride has been parodied about 1 million times, especially on like The Simpsons. And then speaking of The Simpsons, since like Disney owns everything and they kind of own 20th Century Fox and The Simpsons, I wonder if there'll ever be like a Simpsons world at Disneyland. Now, right off the bat, I kind of noticed that there wasn't a lot of consistency with the way they handled all of the figures in this ride. I didn't mind, but like right here, they're all flat. Right here, they have this kind of like look of these like tiny children, and then look at this is a completely different character. And then we have just like characters from movies like Frozen. Speaking of finding characters from movies, there were just so many of them. It felt like I was in the middle of like one of those I Spy books, looking to find all of the little hidden Easter eggs all throughout this ride. Like, hey there, Alice in Wonderland, and hey, Peter and Wendy, and hey, character from Brave, and look, it's Rapunzel. And there's just like a question that like I feel like I gotta ask. Is this all like culturally okay? Like, are we good with all this? Is it representative of people's different cultures? Or is it kind of like stereotypes? I don't know. I think overall, I'm okay with this. Basically, everybody's getting stereotyped, so it kind of like net zeros. So that was It's a Small World, after all. Kid loved it. Big fan. Wife loved it too. Big fan. 10 out of 10. I know I've mentioned this like 10 times, but everything was so cheap here. We got this fleece for my kid because he was a little cold. I think it was like $20. I don't know. Everything here was so cheap. By this point, we've totally gotten our fill of the park, but we had tickets to the other completely separate park, so we thought we'd head over and check it out. I bet you're concerned about how parched I am. I got a Fanta. Fun fact, Fantas in Japan taste like more like the fruit. So like it doesn't taste like purple, it tastes like grapes. The second Disney park in Tokyo is actually called DisneySea, and that entire park is just another completely exclusive park. We didn't stay in the hotel resort, but I feel like maybe one day I will. Who knows? Who knows? Not this time. A hop, skip, and a jump away, we took this monorail train over to the second park, which is known as DisneySea. Sometimes when you're planning a big trip, certain details fall by the wayside. And in this instance, what we were going to do while we were at DisneySea is one of the major things that fell by the wayside. We just went there and we were like, hey, let's see what we can see. Now, this entrance to the park felt very European, kind of Greek-Italian. Now, if you're trying to just see this park in the evening, you can actually get slightly cheaper tickets. Now, even though the name is DisneySea, it is not at all a water park. It is more of like a ocean and sea themed park. I really didn't think too much about it until I got there, but there's actually tons and tons of Disney Sea themed things, like 2,000 Leagues Under the Sea, The Little Mermaid, Pirates of the Caribbean, Atlantis, Treasure Planet, Moana, Lilo and Stitch, Swiss Family Robinson. Just thinking about it, I probably wouldn't have put all these things together and made a theme park, but like seeing it in action, it's all actually very, very beautiful and well put together. From my observations, this Kittyland area was very much themed in a Little Mermaid sort of vibe. Now, there is a major difference between Tokyo Disneyland and DisneySea. The main Tokyo Disneyland park is very much a carbon copy of the Magic Kingdom, whereas the DisneySea is its own thing, and because of that, it's a visual feast of creativity. The first ride we rode was this Pufferfish ride. It was good. Then we checked out this gift shop that I think was in the Whale from Pinocchio. They had a whole bunch of exclusive Disney stuff in here, including Mickey in a samurai costume, which was super dope. This next ride we went to was a jellyfish ride. It was really, really chill. It just kind of slowly went up and down. You know, like jellyfish. This park was beautiful as the sun was setting, but when it was dark out, it just really came alive. I mean, did you see King Poseidon's castle? It is beautiful. I mean, look at that. I mean, they built a volcano that volcanoed. I don't know if it actually erupted, but it, got bubbly. Now, I don't have any regrets, and we had a blast in the Magic Kingdom, but I will say this. I wish we would have spent a little more time in DisneySea. It's so cool. I'm pretty sure that's the submarine from 2,000 Leagues Under the Sea, and I just love that they built it. Sometimes when you see a bunch of cool stuff all day long, it's lost on you how cool something is. They built a volcano with lava. That is immensely impressive. I went to Disney thinking I was about to waste an entire day while I was in Japan, but after actually going there and seeing everything, I gotta say it was one of the highlights of the trip. I definitely recommend going. It's like Disney World, but if everything was even more perfect.